do good, but it's with a little accent and my accent
Um,
also.
and we are
It's,
live.
yeah, make it loud. So
And we are live now. How are you, Mr. NH in the flesh?
how I am? Yeah, I'm good. For the circumstances, I'm okay.
Yeah, this is our crazy times for sure, for everyone.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's quite something, and I'm missing going on stage, obviously. So
yeah, yeah, of course.
the last time I played out for real was in the UK with Pig. Opening up for Three
Mm,
Teeth.
fuck. How was that?
It was great. Great guys, great music, great crowd. I mean, it's all good. We played a little bigger venues. Yeah, it was pretty happening. I'm happy. I'm missing the UK too. It's going to be a bummer when they leave the EU. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, I understand. And where are you based now?
I'm in Berlin.
Berlin. Okay. So, if you don't mind, I would like to ask you if you can introduce yourself just a little bit because my audience is very broad. So, of course, for me, you are a legend. It's an honor to have you on my podcast. But there are some people that don't know about you, so maybe you can talk a little
Okay,
about you.
okay, I can try that. I'm EN ESCH. I'm solo at this point. I'm also playing with Pig. I
Mm.
also play with Pig Face.
Yeah.
It's totally different concepts. Pig Face is based in Chicago, and Pig is based in London.
Mm.
And I'm also playing with Mon Amour EN ESCH, Mon Amour and EN ESCH, in Berlin and in Germany and sometimes in North America. And also, I used to have a band, Slick Idiot, and I used to be in a band, KMFDM. And yeah, that was someone told me something that they saw that was too hot or too hot. The microphone's too hot. So whatever. I used to be in the U.S. I'm a German-born musician. I used to be in the U.S. for a long time. After I came after I toured with ministry back in the day, and started living in the U.S. in the '90s, and I lived there for 12 years or so. Um,
So wait, but you are German, but you were living in US, or
do
you
I like
were?
to do I like to live in Europe? Is that what you're saying?
No, no, no. I'm saying that your what's your origin? Is American, German?
No, my origin is it's German. I'm German-born, like I said.
Ah, okay. So then you with KMFDM, you have the chance to live a little in United States, and then you come back to Germany.
I just came back a few years back. I came back to see my parents. I'm a
Oh, okay.
only child, and I had to see my parents, and they're still around. Luckily, they're already in their 80s, and they need me and they have me around more.
Sure.
And
No, I
also,
understand.
it's got a little more expensive. I mean, they try to get it like Berlin is actually one of the cheapest metropolitan areas. And it's very interesting also. Berlin is actually great if it wouldn't be that dirty and full of garbage and crazy people.
Yeah. No, I have been in Berlin a couple of times, played some show there, and it's a really
Give me a sec.
nice. Sure.
Okay, okay, okay. So someone is telling me that the level is too low.
Yeah, you need to get
Okay,
closer of the mic.
you should have told me that. So, what about this now?
Yeah, perfect.
Very good, very good. Sorry for that.
So yeah, so can you tell us a little how was your beginning in music? It's like you from the start you wanted to get involved with music, or was it little by
Yeah,
little?
yeah, of course, of course. I mean, I let me say, my mother always said I started drumming on the table, when I was 3 years old or something. So I started drumming when I was 3 years old. Drove my parents crazy, but they're very supportive to this day. And so I became a drummer when I was 14, and I had a school band and all this stuff. And then I started to be a serious musician when I was 16 or something. I had the first real band and very good musicians and friends until this day. That was in near Frankfurt. That was Frankfurt. It was in the center, close to Frankfurt.
And what was the name of the first band?
I don't think that was the name. There was another. There was when I was 16. There was a band called Joost Band. It's like Jost.
Okay.
It's not very important, but it was my first foundation. I was back then a drummer and a singer. I was singing and the drums. So. And after that, I moved to Hamburg and I continued my kind of new wavy attitude, my new wavy career. I started in Frankfurt and stuff. I started programming already at a Pro 1 and had a 909 drum machine and stuff like that. And like we did in the early days, triggering tom-tom outputs to the synth, very primitive but very very straight in your face. And so I was doing that, and I had a band called Snack, called like Never Doubt the Chinese Cook. Very fun. ZNACK. But then I moved to Hamburg, and it was all over. So, and then I found Sasha Konietzko right away, because he was going out with the girl that moved out of the apartment. I moved in with my girlfriend. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Crazy. So we kind of became like friends. And,
Okay.
And he was saying, "Oh man, you're a drummer," and I'm doing this gig with Missing Foundation. Missing Foundation was a band from Peter Missing. That's like a guy from New York who used to hang out in all kind of European cities and stuff. So he was there. And so I became the drummer in that band. Sasha was the bass player, and a bunch of other friends of mine from Hamburg. And Peter Missing was on the microphone. And he even recorded a record. I'm not sure he ever came out. I'm not sure. But, that's about it. And then, after that, we were just started KMFDM. In my book, we started KMFDM and made it a new collaboration between him and myself. And it was pretty good stuff.
Yeah, that was kind of groundbreaking at the time. What you...
Yeah, sure. Well, in the beginning, it was, very, very psychedelic in a way. And then, we went to the U.S. The biggest thing was to come to the U.S. and play and open up for Ministry back in the day. They
Sure.
were so on top of their career, and they had like big venues all sold out, and people are totally crazy. And very nice and very friendly, and yet very wild and rock and roll. And that was pretty much very impressive for us. And so, most of us decided to stay in the U.S. After that right away. So,
yeah, and I imagine
also
that.
After this tour, there was also we started PIGFACE, because there was like Martin Atkins, former Pill drummer and former Killing Joke, started a new project with Billy Reefley, and back the drummer from Ministry also Ministry too. And they asked a bunch of people to join them, and I joined them for the first record, the second record, the fifth and the sixth. So until now, and we were doing a tour last year, like about a year ago, and that was wonderful. And we thought we were going to continue in the fall, in the spring, but the outcome, everybody knows the outcome. So Corona cancelled, etc.
Yeah. No, but I found so fascinating that time. There was so much experimentation, mixing stuff, metal, rock, electronics. But I'm sure from a practical point of view, well, I don't know, you tell me, when you guys have to move all your equipment from Europe to US, was not like these days that you can have just a sound card and a laptop. You have to carry the real deal, samplers, synthesizers.
No, I never did that. That was, you rent a drum set, you rent an amp.
Oh, okay.
You bring whatever you use for your playbacks and your electronics and stuff like that, and bring maybe your sampler. I'm talking about back in the day. We just basically
of course.
We bought a DAT cassette and we bought a bunch of guitars.
Mm.
That's basically it. Yeah, it's crazy, man. But we were really a real rock and roll band at that time, and
And
It was good. So PIGFACE was very successful also. It was like a bunch of I played with
yes,
so many different people I never would have played in my life with. Like from all these different American bands back in the day. I wasn't even aware of that. I was like basically meeting with all that very prominent and famous
mm,
musician, and it was like a very natural thing because it was very smooth and very human and very nice. And
mm. Yeah, I think people were really open to collaborate in different ways. That's why I'm saying there was the kind of seek of experimentation to find new sounds or new mixes, especially in the industrial music. Like you were saying with Ministry, that they revolving cogs and KMFDM and the groups for one side, from the assembly. There, there were many, but of course the old guys like Enter Sandberg or there were. But you came more from new wave, like you were saying, more rock, more.
personally, I came from a kind of a new wave synth concept for myself. And maybe Sasha came more from a kind of punk rockish, so far we can
Mm.
tell, background. So, you know,
So what were your influences around that time? With like I don't know, Depeche Mode, no?
yeah, Depeche Mode, obviously, we were
Tangerine
influenced by that.
Dream.
Well, we were influenced by Depeche Mode because Raymond Watts we worked with. He's
Mm.
a big Depeche Mode fan. He thinks it's the greatest band on earth, and I think I can agree they're actually pretty good. They had to use this new equipment, synth clavier, and all that stuff, and very expensive samplers and stuff. Back in the day, it was pretty avant-garde in a way. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was the influence of Depeche Mode. Otherwise, I know when I started making this different music and kind of like electronic stuff, I like Gang of Four and people like that.
Okay.
And then Cabaret Voltaire,
Cabaret Voltaire, of course.
hypnotic kind of stuff.
Yeah. And when you were playing that at the beginning of your shows, you were kind of like a character. You were very, I don't know, histrionic on the scene. Like I don't know what was your intention when
Me,
you
me,
perform.
me personally.
Yeah, yeah. Was it like more? I always find like was a kind of artistic approach. More like a
Oh.
rock guy. You know.
No, I liked electronic, but I liked also the oomph of real guitars, and I liked it all. I mean, it's I wanted to. I always said I want to do electronic rock more or less, and I
Mm,
want to sweat on stage. I want to give people some action for their buck. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to show that I'm into it and I love them, and I wanted to show that I'm into the music and sweat and.
mm.
I didn't want
But
to
you
be cool. I rather wanted to be fighting on stage. Kind of
Yes, but what I'm saying, what's your look when we saw that kind of your performance is kind of artistic and provoking, like wearing I don't know police shirts or a skirt,
oh, oh,
Now it's not checking this day, but at that time it was it's good. I find it cool,
yeah.
because it's you have to have some balls to wear a skirt. I mean.
No, I like that. I like that. I like to, whatever, be into it. And back in the day, I went to thrift stores a lot on tour and picked a
Mm.
lot of stuff I found for very cheap and combined them. And, I like the thrift stores a lot. So.
Yeah, no, I always found that interesting. So after KMFDM and you take ways apart, I want to ask you why because that's your own. But I don't know if you want to talk about it or not. But after you launch your own project, is Sleek Idiot?
Yeah, that was about 20 years ago or something. Like 1999, we started to do stuff. Yeah. And before, I had a project called Barely Illegal with Trixie Reese from New York.
Cool.
She used to be the singer in Crystal Method. Well, like
Oh,
singing on two songs of Crystal Method.
That's
And
cool.
so we became like a writing duo for a few years.
Mm.
And that was pretty good living in New York and having, but it didn't go pop 100%. So it was just a problem.
Mm.
So people we were a little too much for them. So,
Sure.
so
But
and
the
then after that I started SCHNEIDER with Günter Schulz, formerly of KMFDM, and
mm,
a few other people sometimes. But mainly Günter Schulz and I.
okay. And then you went along with your own personal project.
Yeah, I mean, I did one solo record called Cheesy a very long time ago, and so I wanted maybe to continue a few more solo things, because not to worry about anyone's opinions, or
Yeah.
just put out what I had lying around,
Mm.
and I'm working on a new solo record, obviously as we speak, but it's going to be a few months before there's anything concrete. I have too much stuff to pick from. And no, I just start little ideas. I never follow up and never produce them to the fullest. So I just like let them sit around for a little while. Yeah, I started. It was SCHNEIDER was doing pretty good, and then I went back to Berlin to Germany to see my parents, and decided to go to Berlin after I lived in New York for like 12 years or something. I lived also in Chicago. I lived in New Orleans. I lived in New York the longest.
Oh, that's really interesting.
What's that?
That's really interesting that you was able to live and travel a lot. Do,
Yeah,
do,
I mean,
do
it
you
was.
feel do you
I,
feel
I
a
like.
difference, cultural difference between Europe and United States?
I don't have to tell you. I mean, I'm sure. I'm sure how long you were in the States before, or did you ever live there or anything? I know you're from Chile, right?
Yeah, but I live in France,
But now
so
you
there's
and
cultural differences, of course.
you're in Le Havre, right? Is that correct? Or in Rennes? Or you're in Rennes?
Rennes,
Yeah,
Rennes,
Rennes.
la
Yeah,
Bretagne.
yeah, Rennes. Yeah, it's pretty good there. I mean, it's different. Of course, there's a difference, and
Mm,
I don't know. I can't really explain that very fast, but
mm,
obviously it has to do with the history of the country, of the U.S., for example. I mean,
mm,
how it all started out. I mean, who actually came there, and
mm,
from and it's a long story. But I mean, I don't, I like the U.S. As a country of extremes, obviously.
yeah.
You have just ultra conservative people, and it's also very ahead of the time people, and.
Mm,
In Europe, it's more like kind of the middle of the road compared to that. Not
mm,
that many extreme people, and not that many people are actually ahead of their time. They rather do whatever they always do.
mm.
I mean, it's good. It's good. Both things have their reason to exist. And I wish now with the new president coming or whatever, that there will be maybe more like a friendly relationship again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, less polarizing.
Because I need to go back there and do some music at the moment. It's
Sure.
unthinkable. You know what I'm saying? And that's a bummer. So I love to be on stage, and I love to be allowed and be on stage. And
Mm,
we're gonna end up having like kind of a proof of vaccination or so, and then maybe playing in front of a restricted audience or something. We'll
yeah.
see. We will see.
Yeah, well, they think they already find a vaccine. I think it will take some time, but we're gonna get there. It's just a matter
Yeah.
of be kind of patient. But of course, this affect this especially affect every art. I think, especially the music industry.
Right.
But no, I'm hopeful for the future, and it's good that people still are making music. I'm trying to find new ways, even with the streaming or stuff like that. But no, I think it would be cool. I took it about United States. Of course, there are people that have this cliche of America. There's something really, one thing but you know, like in every state is really different. Like
Yeah,
they're
it's
more conservative.
but it's now it's probably the same you have in Chile or like the same you have in France, especially in France. The difference between like urban people and the countryside, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, of
You see,
course.
there's extreme, there's the break, and there's the differences.
Mm,
I mean, you know, it's the same in the U.S. I mean, there's just crazy Christians and stuff. They're not in the city. You know what I'm saying? I mean, unless we talk about Kansas, but I mean, they usually have like the hippest and coolest people in the bigger cities, you know,
yes.
and then between the cities there is some kind of a other atmosphere, and I already could feel that the last time I toured, like already, or a couple of last times I toured, I could really feel that this Trumpism was kind of, kind of influencing certain people, you know, and
Mm,
the normal people working in the truck stop and stuff like that already changed their attitude towards me, you know, in a way, and they're like want to be more umphy or like, I show you. So it's okay, it's all good, you know. Hopefully it will turn out well.
yeah, of course. And what you have some project? Well, you were saying you're working in a new album.
Yes, I do. I do work on a new solo album, yeah. But you know, to come back to that live and stuff, I did with
Yeah.
Mon Amour and Esch did a few virtual shows on the internet and also in some club
Mm,
here, you know, where we went without any audience and stuff, and
yeah.
live streamed our music and stuff. It was pretty interesting. Pretty
What do
interesting
you
also.
think about that experience of doing live stream?
Say it one more time.
What do you think about the experience of course, it's not like a real show, but what do you think about to a live stream?
Oh well, I mean, it's not the same now. I mean, I usually if I play live, I always like look for the dialogue and the dialogue with the people and. But I also like this kind of weird shows when you play in front of a camera. There's, old music shows used to be like that. They were in a TV studio and the band came and just played their stuff. There were only like 3 cameras and it was pretty good. So, I mean, it has a different, kind of a different vibe. So, but I like both, but I rather prefer to play in front of the people, of course. But,
Mm,
the thing with like going on stage is the most fantastic and fascinating thing about going to be on stage is the fact that you are doing it live in a way and there is no turning back or there is no redoing it. You know, it's just you're under a lot of stress in a way because
yeah.
people look at you and you under a lot of stress to do your stuff correct and move around without falling over. So you know what I'm saying. So it's a lot of it's a very adventurous moment, and when people scrutinized from every angle, and and it's exciting in a very interesting way. You know what I'm saying? It's like being on a TV show or something. It's just like that. It's just like the same. And you're like, you're a little nervous about it, and I'm always nervous before I go on stage. And I know everybody says that, and I'm so nervous, and then I go on stage and I'd be all totally crazy. All of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? And usually I'm so calm, but it's exactly like that. In my case, it's like that. I'm
Yes.
relatively normal and nice, and then when I go on stage, I might want to be not a wild man, but I'm kind of appear like a wild man for many people. I don't know.
And you have any kind of fun memory of a tour, something that interaction with some interaction with the audience, or something that stick in
I mean,
your head?
interaction between the crowd and myself.
Yeah.
There were many moments, many interruptions, and especially if you stage dive, and then it kind of fails. I was usually very careful going backwards. I kind of went back with my back first, kind of. And so,
Okay.
and then that's the craziest moment if you end up in this very loud concert, and then you are in the crowd, and they kind of don't hold you up, or so it can happen sometimes. Because they don't get the point what's up now, and then you fall to the ground. You fall to the ground of the venue, and you lie on the ground of the venue. You look up, and it's like in a rainforest or so. You look up at the people, and you see the light on top of the people, like you were in a very dense forest or so. and you hear the sound very kind of like further away from the distance. That's so crazy, and this is a very calm and very calm moment in that moment. And you cannot stay there for too long. You have to get up again and back on stage somehow.
Yeah, I
And
kind
usually
of
that's what's happening.
hurt a little,
People
maybe.
lift you up, or the bouncer picks you up, or whatever. But this moment when you crash onto the floor, I mean softly, because you kind of try to hold on to all the
Yes.
people. This is the craziest thing, and yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
No.
I'm lucky enough to play tons of wonderful shows all over the world, and met a lot of very excited people watching our music and stuff. So that's crazy. I mean, I feel privileged. I'm saying.
Yeah, of course. I remember one time. I love stage diving, but I remember one time I run so fast, and I just so far away that all the crowd was in the first row was really really compact.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
that was my goal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I run, I
I
jumped
know.
too far, and well, I missed them.
Yeah, yeah, that. Oh, okay. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it reminds me on the days when we played there with a few venues when the venue was a little smaller, like 9:30 Club in Washington D.C. in the old days, and there was so many people in there that you basically can walk on them like cheeses on the water. So because there was no empty, there was no gap in between
Sure.
that could be dangerous. So that was crazy. I mean, you walked really to the end, basically not walking, but kind of crawling and stuff like that, and getting moved further and to the back of the venue and then back on stage. And I remember the wild pig face shows we did in the 90s and stuff. And I remember Andrew Weiss, the bass player from Rollins Band, was with us many times. And he stage dived with his bass, and the bass was on the right corner of the venue and at the very end, and he was on the left side of the venue at the very
No.
at the rear wall. Crazy,
Fuck.
and the people were playing his bass, and it was just like all like totally mayhem and stuff. Yeah, it was just crazy shit like that. I'm sorry. So tell
No,
me
that's
about
good.
you. So what about Rennes?
Well, it's
Rennes in France. It's northern France.
you know the legend of King Arthur.
I think I've been in Le Havre once
Mm.
as a
You know
kid.
you know the legend of King Arthur, the Merlin. You know that kind of legend of King Arthur and the kings of the Round Table.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it is here. It's in this region called Brittany,
Hmm.
and the like a magical forest of Broceliande is just 30 minutes from the city.
Right.
So no, it's a really particular region in France. There's a lot of Celtic influence
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
Yeah.
I just learned not too long time ago, thanks to Mon Amour pointing it out to me I think it was 8,000 years ago. 8,000 years ago, you could walk onto England. There was no British
Really?
Channel. There was no British Channel. At a certain point, from Germany, Denmark side, you could really walk onto it. The water was not there, and the water came like 8,000 years ago, slowly.
That's crazy.
So that's crazy, man. That's so crazy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And
I,
that explains it. Those people were really going back and forth back in the day.
yes. Yeah, of course, there were more easy ways to connect the cultures. And your project with Mon Amour, how does it start?
How did it start? Did you ask how did it start?
Yeah, Mon
Yeah, it did.
Amour
Yeah,
and
and
you.
Mon Amour is like a great singer and project I admired like when I still lived in Hamburg, and she played with a lot of people from Einstürzen und Neubauten, FM Einheit, and also Mark Chung and Alexander Hacke and all these people.
Wow.
And it was a crazy project. And KMFDM opened up for them in Hamburg a long time ago, and so I admired her. But when I came back from the U.S. living in Berlin, I ran into her, and she was looking for also for a partner to make more music, and so we created a project and successfully put out a couple of very good albums, and recently in through a Mexican label we put out a remix album, where you are on, by the way.
Yes, I made a
Yes.
remix.
Did you hear that? Did you hear the version? I mean, of course, I just remastered it a little, made it a little more
Yes.
a little beefier.
Yeah.
Crazy. Your
No.
remix is very good. I mean, I'm very happy to have it.
Oh,
I did a
thank you.
remix. I did a remix in return, right? Did I?
I don't think
did.
so. Yeah.
I believe so, because I found some stuff where it says like I was remixing your song.
Ah, yes. Yes.
I
Maybe it
can't
was
remember.
for was kind of I was I was so in the so it was kind of I don't know how many 8 years ago, 7.
Yeah. Yeah, we should. I think
Time flies.
you were still in Chile, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, back in the day.
Well,
when I did the remix.
maybe, but it will be great if we can do another collaboration.
Yeah, of course.
Now,
Yeah, we should look into that. You're still working on music, right? Do you?
yeah, of
I
course,
mean, don't you?
I can stop. No, my last album I released it with Cleopatra.
Oh,
Cleopatra Records.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
That's good.
And but this day I do more DJ than shows because the logistic point of view is kind of more easy for me. But well, I do shows from time to time, but only for festivals or things very selected. But well, for the moment, I don't do just streaming from time to time. I just record yesterday a DJ set for the brand Sennheiser.
Hmm.
It will gonna
You,
be it will
you said
gonna be
you said hi-fi, right? Hello? Are you still there? I lost you, I guess.
yeah. I lost you
Yeah,
for 1 second.
I lost you for a second.
Yeah, no, but
Did
no, I
you say
was saying
you're working with a band from Haifa, like in Israel?
no, not at all. It's a microphone brand called Sennheiser.
Oh,
You know,
Sennheiser. This mic.
Sennheiser. Yeah. For example,
This is like
they
that top model of a stage mic, so it's very
yeah.
good. I mean, if everything is
So
proper, of course. Yeah. What about it? Oh, you did something for Sennheiser. Is that what you're saying? I'm losing you.
maybe
What's up?
I don't know. I
I
don't
mean,
know. Maybe
the analog. I
maybe it's
mean,
the
the
word
sound's gone.
Sennheiser.
All right. So okay. So yeah. I mean, it's
So I'm
hard to think
so I
about.
made I made
You could
an
try.
stream for them, and they will gonna stream it the 18
Oh yeah.
on their Facebook page. Also, it's cool. But
Very
yeah,
good.
I'm still working in music and
Yeah, we should really look into do something. It's crazy that you actually could drive with a car to where I am. Actually,
yeah.
I mean, it's maybe like 8 hours drive, 8 9 hours, or so, or maybe a little more. I don't know.
Yeah, no, but I will love to go to visit you one day.
Yeah, sure.
Well, there's a lot of people that are kind of pissed because I don't ask you more questions about KMFDM.
Yeah, what about it?
I don't know. It's my same question. I don't know. Do you mind if I ask you a little about it, or no?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, just
Okay.
try.
It's like how it start, the project, and why KMFDM? I don't know.
What did I say before? I tried to explain that to you before. I came to Hamburg. I started
Yeah.
playing with Sasha and the Missing Foundation. version in Hamburg back in the day. And then we continued to do music, and he did like a performance for an art, for like an art, a painter that lived in our backyard in Hamburg. And he just came up with puzzled newspaper headlines together and came up with this crazy Dadaistic German, you know, kein Mehrheit für die Mitleid. That's actually wrong German because the articles are switched and stuff, you know? Or the nouns are switched either way. And so that was an old concept Sasha used with this guy called Udo Sturm, like the painter from my backyard in Hamburg. And so we took that name on because, you know, after we tried to call ourselves like the Symbols album, you know, that was like an actually older idea. Remember the KMFDM Symbols album is always kind of like crazy, cartoonish kind of science, you know, stars and flesh and skulls. If you want to name the band like that, like you cannot pronounce the unpronounceable name, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
So by then we took this old KMFDM name, kein Mehrheit für die Mitleid. That was once used in that.
That's disappointing for a lot of people because there's a lot of people that were saying that was killing motherfucker Depeche Mode. You heard that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, of course, it's also a very funny idea to say that, obviously. But
Yes.
I don't want to kill Depeche Mode.
No, of course.
Maybe someone else, but not them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just kidding. But, I mean, yeah, of course. There was we did a contest and asked fans what they think it means and all stuff.
Yes.
So it was a wonderful time. We did great shows and were kind of productive, and you know, it was pretty good.
There's one guy that asked why EN ESCH wasn't on Extort.
I was on Extort. I was in the intro, and I was playing a guitar solo on EN ESCH, I believe it was. There was a time when I tried to focus on my own stuff, you know, and I wasn't I wasn't involved like before or afterwards. And so I played a guitar solo, recorded in there's also a funny story because I recorded the guitar on a ADAT. Back then we used ADATs.
Yeah, I remember the.
So I recorded this guitar in New York, and then I sent the ADAT tape, the whole entire tape, because it was Internet Mark I. You know, there was no sending big files back and forth.
Sure.
So I took that ADAT cassette. There was a little like a VHS cassette, a video cassette, the same kind of format basically. And I sent that to the studio where Sasha worked, and Günter worked, you know, on Extort, you know, to Chicago. And then the funny thing is when I listened, before I sent it away, I was listening back one more time what I was doing, and then the tape broke, so it got all tangled up inside that machine. And so it was broke, and then, but I had to bring it to the mail, so because there was no time to fuck around with that. So I sent it to Sasha, and you know, Sasha took it apart and just put it together with tape and could save the recording somehow. It wasn't obviously not in sync anymore, but I mean, it was like somehow got the audio out. That was pretty good.
Well.
And there's also the intro. There's some intro where you know, there's like a telephone call. Sasha and I were on the phone, and there's like, you see, did a snippet. They edited it together, so you only hear the this kind of weird stuff in between. That's actually the intro to Power. You know,
yeah.
Because the song is called. Next one, actually pretty good album, I thought. Especially because my friend FM Einheit was also on it, you know, who were going to Chicago back then to work with Sasha and so.
For you, what's your favorite album that you made with KMFDM? The one that you like the most, the album that you like the most that you made during your time with.
I like a lot of the older stuff also. I like I like UAIOE, and I like the untitled one with in yellow. And I also like Angst, and I also like
Anx is
Also like
amazing.
Nihil, I like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, for me, Nihil and Axe, I listened those albums like on repeat for a long time because I was trying at the time. For me, it was really hard to figure out how you guys make your sounds. Because it's not like these days that you have Ableton, Cubase, plugins, BSDs. No, the time you have to have the real shit. The
Yeah,
very
I mean,
expensive synthesizer and samplers, and the mix with the guitar was like perfect. Because it's very difficult to find the right balance.
yeah,
So
of course it's difficult. Yeah, I mean, we always try to sound proper and kind of technically ahead of quality-wise ahead of everyone. I'm saying, if
mm,
that's possible, even. But usually it's all sample based. In the earlier days, it was all sample based. You had a sample kit, and the important part is you go to a good studio and just maybe have a nice compression and a reverb on it and
mm,
delay and make it proper. But yeah, I mean, I remember I was just um, when I worked with Raymond Watts in the very early stage of KMFDM. It was crazy because he had this early sampler, before we had a sampler, and there was a sampler that only took your audio and you couldn't save it. You had to fucking use it and then just shut the sample off. It was gone.
no.
It was like
Wow.
I think it was an 8 second sample time or something. But
Yeah.
it was good. So we triggered that with a CV or whatever we call that and then we triggered with a tom-tom output from a 727, 727 Roland drum machine.
Mm,
If you use the tom-toms just to trigger the rhythm, but you don't hear the tom-toms. You only use the outputs from the tom-toms to trigger the sampler. And
mm.
then you had a possibility to change the key, but the rhythm came from the drum machine. It was just very primitive.
Yes.
It was very tight and very direct in a way.
Mm.
And
But
so the whole thing started with the sampler, and that was crazy to have to sample, and we use certain samples without actually we bothered the author or something like that.
mm,
If you can sample very smart in a way that people never figure that out. Prodigy is the best example.
yeah.
I love Prodigy because of that, because everything they do is basically sampled together from all kinds of stuff, Led
Yeah.
Zeppelin and all stuff. But you don't recognize it anymore because
No.
they rework that stuff out. And that's what the genius, and that's what I like also
Mm.
to a certain degree. But
And the drums were like programmed, or someone was playing it live.
well, it depends what song we're talking. I mean, they were because I'm a drummer. I played sometimes drums, and the
For
later
example,
production.
in this album that I mentioned before, Angst and Nihil, there were that
I
was
mean,
programmed
say it one more time.
in the albums Angst and Nihil. The drums were programmed with a
Of
drum
course.
machine, or
Yeah,
was
of course. They're not. That was a drum machine. That was something else. It was sampled sounds. And it was also like something
okay.
called Tremolator from emulator or something. I mean, EMU Tremolator, and they were always programmed. I mean, that was also in my music always very important. Even when I'm a drummer, I never wanted to have the drums all by themselves. I'd rather have a programmed beat and a steady beat, and then play maybe some stuff on top of it. To give it
Mm,
a little more rock and roll feel. But I mean, the steadiness and the brutality and heftiness and density has to come from the machine or from sampled sounds or whatever.
mm. And from the beginning, you wanted with such a mix, the electronic and rock, or at the beginning was it just
Yeah, it was
electronic?
it was meant to be it was meant to be electronic, obviously. And I was the first guitar player, kind of. I mean, but I'm not Günter Schulz, so I'm more like a rock and roll guitarist.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? But Günter Schulz just brought the metal, and of course, it was also a time when people starting to use guitar samples. And our the band we kind of admired in that case was like Young Gods from Basel, Switzerland. Are they from Basel?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, from now Franz lived in Geneva, I guess.
Mm.
So they were one of the early bands. Really, like they had like the keyboarder. They had like only a keyboarder triggering a sampler.
Mm.
They had like Franz the singer, and they had a drummer. That was like a trio.
Yes.
And this keyboarder played out of the Kai sampler. He played like a really heavy, metal, thrash metal style kind of guitar.
Yeah, was
and
amazing.
And cranked that stuff up, and so it was like a guitar, like a guitar sample playing keyboardist,
Mm.
a real drummer, and Franz singing. That was just like very
Yeah,
we loved
yeah,
it.
it was really groundbreaking to that band. I was lucky to saw them, I think 2 years ago. They are still kicking ass.
Yeah, I saw them in Berlin like a few years back. It was good to
Yeah.
see them again.
Yeah, no. Around that time, for me, it's fascinating because there was a lot of experimentation. People also on both sides, artists have more courage to experiment.
Yeah.
We're not too more like these days. How many plays you have in Spotify or something like that? Was more experimentation, and from the side of the audience too, were more interest of looking of new stuff. Who is making what with who? I no, I found that fascinating. And then the idea of add that kind of disco vocals, like in Juk Jong, Jezebel. Be right. What was the idea to add that kind of sound to KMFDM, like
Yeah, but it started out to it wanted to be electronic, and then kind of like. Well, also a band we really admired was DAF, so that was like basically groundbreaking for kind of my generation, basically. DAF, Deutsch-Amerikanische Freundschaft.
Yeah.
Synth bass, just a fat synth line. A real drummer here again, and a singer. That was also a trio.
Yeah.
It's kind of synth bass, like.
Kind of like Nitsarev at the time.
Yeah, that was just crazy. That was, and it was also very wavy. Going back to the new wave.
Yes.
Aspect, but I also like Four on the Floor. I like kind of I like techno and stuff like that. Always like that too. So that's always part of my music. Really becomes kind of electronic techno-ish vibe also. And then that's what it comes down to. It's like a techno-ish, guitar-driven. Real songwriting, sweaty concept.
And but for example, the female vocals, the idea of add a female vocal on the band, how that came.
Yeah, I don't know. It just happened. I don't know. It's just because there's it depends what record are you talking about. There's a bunch of different singers on for Nihil, for example. Jennifer, she worked back then. She was like working in the studio behind the front desk. So that's how we met her basically. And she
Really?
turned out to be like totally crazy singer. Totally blew up.
So was almost an accident.
What's that?
Was almost a lucky accident.
An incident, yeah. Of course, yeah. It was a lucky accident. Incident.
No, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, the other singer was, for example, the girlfriend of the studio owner, and she came passed by, and we used her, and there was a friend of Sasha's in the very early days, and a friend of Sasha's girlfriend back in the day, who was singing. I like this one. There's maybe also the influence on Frank Zappa and all the stuff. We liked so much also in the early days. So we had, of course, this kind of mix between Frank Zappa, new wavy stuff, disco, yet more experimental electronic, throbbing crystal, etc., and Sherwood and all this stuff. So it was a mix all of everything. So everything we liked and we used it. It was,
Yes.
there was no point to do something we don't like, you know. So that's
Yeah.
how it came along. You know.
Well, there is someone that is asking well, maybe an uncomfortable question. It's about the breakup when you decide to leave the band, or I don't know,
Well, it's
complicated.
yeah. I mean, there was no. Let me say there was there was a breakup. We decided that on the phone, and it was in 1999, I believe. You know.
Yeah.
But
Someone
then
ex-
then
also
it was
someone write the exact year as well. 1990. 19,
1999.
yeah, 1999.
Yeah, that was a good decision to take a break. But then obviously there was MDFMK. That was I didn't know about it, so I was kind of surprised to see that all of a sudden to have another band that did the same thing backwards. But you know, who cares?
Ah, yes, I remember. I found it weird too. I say, well, what's the deal? For me, it was kind of the same. The style of music was the same. I was thinking they were gonna try
Yeah,
something different, but
yeah, more or less. I mean, you know, why change something you can do? But I mean, it was good. I mean, it was you know, we worked with Skold before, also before the breakup. It was you know, it's cool stuff and good stuff. And that was it. And then you know, there was a couple of years later, there was a you know, I was asked whether to be back, and I wasn't. I didn't feel ready to be. I wanted to have more time for my own stuff. You know.
sure.
And
So you were
there was a disagreement between me and Sasha that I should have joined, and I didn't want to join. I needed a little more distance. I would have joined maybe a few years later, but I know I don't. So whatever. So I created my own stuff and worked on my own music for a little while,
yes,
you know, and still do.
yes. No, but that the stuff happened. For example, I don't know. You know the band Pig Factory. He recently quit the band to dedicate to his own project. So no, I think it's interesting, you know, because yeah, when you become a part of a band, for me, it's kind of a relationship. It's kind of hard to stay very long time, same people. If at least you have a 100% agreement all the time, and that's really rare to find.
Yeah.
But well, for me, everything you create with KMFDM and with your projects is great, and you
It's a
can
very
feel.
yeah, it's a very intimate thing to have a band, you know. I mean, and it is kind of can be delicate, you know, to get along to see the same.
Yes, find the right balance.
You know, that's could be a problem, but you know, I'm usually good, you know, communicating and working for a group. I mean, usually I'm good with that.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I'm a single child also. You know what I'm saying, I mean, I'm used to. And my poor parents were both working all day long. I had to like sit at home and just you know, do it myself. Yeah.
No, and also is great. Well, I can identify with that. That have the freedom to do whatever you want. That you don't have to ask catering.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice shirt.
So good. Yeah. I hope you're doing okay. I hope that came across okay. I know there was problems with the sound in the beginning, and I'm sorry for that. Though I cannot hear myself, so I don't know what's up. You know.
No, it's a
So,
little low, but it's okay.
so
So
that's planned to maybe communicate about doing something or whatever. So I'm working on a new record, and maybe that's something you can contribute as well.
yeah, of course. I really thank you for your time. I know you're a busy guy, and we stay in touch.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing that, and thanks for saying hello, and
Thanks to
thanks
you.
everybody to join in.
All right, man.
Okay. Okay.